show you guys. Somebody asked me a question. What does one do in cybersecurity? Let me show you. All right. So there is a bunch of jobs. It's not just hacking. All right. It's all this stuff right here. It's analysis. Wait, hold on. Let me switch screens over here. It's analyzing data. It's collecting and operating the data. It's investigating data. It's maintaining the data. It's overseeing and governing information. It's protecting and defending the information and securely provisioning the information. And so what does this mean? What does this mean in layman's terms? I'm going to explain this. All right. I'm going to explain this one by one. I'm going to keep it high level. I'm going to keep it in plain English. So analyzing. I'll give you an example of analyze. That cybersecurity analyst is probably the best example I can give. That's not the only example, by the way. There's many jobs and specialties within analyze. Okay, so there's many different. Let me actually go to the site. Here it is right here. This is an active site. Link in description below if you want to get more access to this information. You can follow along with me. But Analyze has these different specialty areas. You've got all source and analysts. You've got exploit analysts, exploitation analysts. You've got language analysts, target, somebody who finds targets. What do each one of these guys do? It's different jobs. So I'll give you two completely different examples. Excuse me. One would be a cybersecurity analyst. What do? They sit in front of a computer and they watch logs on a system. And what are they doing is they're looking for anomalies. Like they're looking for weird things that happen. One weird thing that they might trigger on, that they might say, okay, something's wrong here, is if they see somebody attempting to log in half a dozen times in 5 seconds. No human being can log in that fast. So what they did was somebody created a script and they're trying to log in over and over again. If they see that activity in the logs, right? Now this is assuming that somebody in the organization has turned the logs on and they have security features built on the computer, which is that's a different job. But as a cybersecurity analyst, you're looking at the logs that are coming through the whole organization. You're looking at the network logs, the firewall rule logs. You're looking at the system logs on the actual individual endpoint devices. That's the actual computers and the phones. You can even look at logs on phones. You're looking at all the logs and they're coming into one place and you're looking at them. Now, you can think about how this would be a strain on your eyes if you're looking, and usually it's like a 12-hour shift. So you're just sitting there looking for patterns. That's right. You're looking for patterns, unusual patterns, anomalies. And then once you find those, you're going to do something what's called incident response. Incident response is broken up in 6 different parts, but the bottom line is what you're doing is you've got to react to that anomaly. You see the anomaly, you'll have something in your computer that you can flag it and then start making a report. Or actually you would analyze it a little bit further to make sure it's not what's called a false positive. That means like it looks like it's bad, but it's fine. Maybe it looks like they tried to log in half a dozen times in 1 second, but it was an application that you guys created. The organization that you work for, you guys already know what that is. If you look at it and you figure out, okay, it's system 3, an application that we wrote to log into these systems to maybe check to see if you can log in or whatever that is. So a lot of those logs, probably 95% of the logs that you're seeing through the organization are going to be false, what you call false positives. So you're sorting through that. It can be very tedious, but for a curious mind, somebody who likes to dig deep, this is a great job for that. So for me, I had a lot of fun doing that. Who do you send the reports to? So who you send reports to, that's a great question. You're asking a lot of the right questions, by the way. Who you send the reports to depends on the organization. The organization will usually create what's called a incident response team. So a cybersecurity incident response team. And it's going to consist of a bunch of key players. It's going to probably have information system security officer. It's probably going to have a security analyst person. It might have the CISO. That's a chief information security officer. It might be somebody that's their whole job is to do incident response. So you have one place, or usually you have a whole organization that responds, and they're called the Security Operations Center. So that JSOC guy, he's probably involved with this whole process. If you talk to him about what I'm saying, he'll know exactly what you're talking about. It's called incident response. And it has a bunch of different things that you have to go through that. That is one job. Actually, I just named several different jobs within cybersecurity, but incident response is one. Cybersecurity analyst role is another. And another one is, believe it or not, language analyst. And the reason why language analyst is important is because every now and then, if you're looking at threats, it'll be in another language. It'll be in Farsi, which is Iranian language. And it'll be a code written in another language, Farsi or Russian or Chinese or Tagalog or whatever language, right? Whoever wrote the malware. So you need a specialist to come in and interpret it. And that specialist not only has to know Farsi, but they probably have to know a little bit of code, or they have to know a little bit of things that to look for inside the code, right? They might have to know some slang. Like they might know, like anyone can pick up a little bit of Farsi, but not everybody's going to be so in depth that they know things like slang that you only speak in Iran. So that is another part of cybersecurity. Like we need subject matter experts who can speak Ukrainian, or who can speak Russian, or who can speak Farsi fluently. Like that's their native tongue, and they know how, because you got different kind of slang. Not only you got colloquial like speaking slang, but you got typing slang. Like people would type in the computer like in a different language, in Cyrillic if it's Ukrainian or Russian, and then they'll have a slang but a person who is a native speaker of what that language will know, okay, I see what they did here. So what I'm trying to articulate is that cybersecurity is not just hacking. So you have multiple disciplines within cybersecurity, and we need all these different skill sets for it. Let me take you to one that's not even technical. The one I talk about a lot, because actually a lot of cybersecurity guys start to pick up this skill because it pays really well. Check this out. So there's one called cybersecurity program management. Let me take you to that one. So program management is under, I think it's oversee and govern, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here it is right here. Oversee, and this is what I'm looking at here on the screen. I don't know how well this is going to translate onto TikTok, but so this is a whole nother section. It's called oversee and govern, and it includes cybersecurity management, which is something like what I do. It's got C-level execs, it's got legal advice, and you've got program management right here. Program management and acquisition. Why is this important? You can understand like why legal would be important. Like I can quickly explain that one. Legal would be important because if you're doing a privacy policy, and your users are coming in, we want to be able to articulate and explain to them, here's how we're using your private information. Or to write that little pop-up. Have you ever gone to a site and it says, hey, is it okay if we put these cookies on your computer? Or is it okay? Hey, by the way, we won't be using your. Somebody has to write that language or read through and make sure legally it makes sense, right? That requires a person with a legal degree, or that's their profession, is a legal person. So that's how cybersecurity fits into that piece. Like we need a legal person to be able to articulate and look at and analyze the legal aspects of, say, a privacy policy or something, right? And that's only one of the things. You got use case, you got user agreements, you've got non-disclosure agreements, you've got all these different documents that only a legal person would be qualified to actually read through. So that's why you would need a cybersecurity person, a person with a legal background, to be in part of a cybersecurity team or a cybersecurity project. Another one would be project managers. This is an extremely important role, and this pays 6 figures. You don't believe me? Go to Google, type in I'll do it right now.